Is the whole world against us? What in the world has gone on the past 3 days for the University of Maryland? Is it us against the world? That's what it seems like. The fates are against us with the most bizarre connection of crippling injuries in football that I've seen. And then the NCAA burned us, but more important than burning the University of Maryland, they burned Des Wells. We'll have a lot to talk about that in this show, but obviously you can tell I'm fired up. But what do they say? It's a calm before the storm. Because number one, the hurricane's coming, and number two, Redemption Day, when I read that we're underdog against Boston College.
Hey, it's only 3 points as an underdog.
That's a major underdog against a team that's 1-6.
Hey, they beat somebody.
Yeah, Maine. All right, they've lost every Division I game, and they haven't been close. But I can understand the spread because of the quarterback situation. This is Bruce Posner with my man Wayne Viner from Viner Consulting, and with me today on Kelly and Associates Insurance Group Terp Talk. This Saturday, of course, and every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. And let's get the show rolling. We'll do a couple minutes. I know, Wayne, you broke away from Mark Turgeon's All Access Weekend, and when you came in, you told me it was an absolute blast.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yesterday was the start of All Access Weekend, about 3 in the afternoon. Mark brought us in for a film session. There were about 70 Terp fans in on this deal. We got to meet all the players, go over the highlights from practice the day before. He does a breakdown of what people are doing, and you know him.
Right.
He's very funny, he's very direct. So Turgeon, it's just such a winning atmosphere.
Mark is not the kind of guy who's like media conscious. He you know, it's part of his job. He does it, but when he does engage people, when he's on that one-on-one or one-on-70 basis, he is so impressive, okay, that you can't imagine.
And it's not just him, it's Scott Spinelli, it's Bino Ransom, it's Dustin Clark, it's all the guys he brought in. It's such a winning gang. You can walk in that room and you can feel that these guys are going to be successful. Then they took us on a tour of the new the new locker room, what they've done inside the building that most fans don't get to see, and we'll put some of those pictures up on Terp Talk, www.terptalk.com tomorrow.
Did you get a release before you put those up?
Maybe I should ask for that.
You'll have to. As long as it's positive, you know,
sure.
we can put it up.
It is. The place is gorgeous inside, and they said they did that to make sure that when people come to Maryland, you know it's a championship look. From the minute you walk in the door, the whole place just looks fantastic.
Wayne, let me ask you, did they have a practice, or is that today?
They had a practice.
What impressed you with the practice, because you don't get to see it too much?
Speed, competitive, tough. The speed up there, I'm not saying it's an NBA team, but it looks like the junior league for the NBA, and they are going at it. You mentioned it, that Shaq. Physicality. From bringing the ball up the court, they have a drill where they put everybody on the free throw line. You have one free throw to make or miss, and they just take off from there like it's a real game situation. And they are moving out there, and it's so fast when you're up close to it. If you go back up to the regular seating area, it actually looks like it's slower. When you walk down to courtside, it is fast. You can hear the guys squeaking, you can hear the contact, and you're going full speed.
I sit sometimes with my buddy Rick Jakovich on the floor. He's on the floor seats, and Bobby Pinkner has seats on the floor as well. And when you're up that close, any of those games, the real speed is the first thing that moves you.
And then the second thing is size. They're real big
Which bodies. They haven't been. Of course, Alex. Now, in the game, could you sense at all that, you know, it seemed to me that when I went to the scrimmage the other day, he's got a good feel for Seth Allen.
He does. He was on Seth a lot. And you know when he's engaged with a player, he's talking to him all the time, and it's sort of point guard to point guard. So he wants Seth to be as tough as Mark Turgeon was. He wants Seth to be as good as he can be. So every step, if he's up too close, he'll mention it. If he drops back too fast, he's on him.
I wonder what happens with Des Wells. You know, does he continue to take the active role in practice or not? I mean, was he yesterday?
He was yesterday, and it's funny. I was off the internet, and I went to one of those meetings, and the phone rings, and it's Bruce. Says, "Did you hear?" Well, as you mentioned, our luck's been so bad that I have to ask you what happened in the last 15 minutes I don't know about. and you said that he was denied. And he didn't look a bit different for it. He was still smiling. He's one of the most vocal people in practice because he practices like a madman.
Well, you know, I'm going to get Rick on the phone in a minute or two, and let's talk about that first. And listen, we're really going to get into the Boston College game today and what happened with the quarterbacks and the unfortunate, you know, events of the football team in the past week. Charlie, here's Rick's number if you need it.
Well, that was an unusual situation. The best thing about the basketball team is nobody's gotten hurt yet. They practice like it's a game, and they look fantastic. And they brought up at dinner how they change their bodies and what they eat and how they hit the workroom. And as you know, they took the strength and conditioning coach from the women's team, and he has rebuilt their bodies. And then they did the Navy SEAL training, which even enhanced their team leadership. And it's not the same team that was there last year. If you haven't been following the basketball team, you are going to see what looks like we have a brand new team in town. And there are guys on that team that are going to be playing in the NBA in a couple of years.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's get into Des Wells before we get into Boston College. We'll do that in the second and third segments. But this is what I feel it is so unfair what happened to him, and this is why. Obviously, they have their transfer rule that they stood by in the decision. I mean, I guess I don't see the decision, and it's certainly anything that has been really publicized. But here's the case, and here's the difference with Des Wells when I look at it. He was falsely accused. Now, this event, whatever happened, did not go to trial. It wasn't like, you know, he was accused of something and he was able to go to the courts and beat the case like Roger Clemens did.
Right.
All right. This is a case where the district attorney said that there's no evidence there, or there's no case, there's nothing there, and you know he doesn't even know how it got this far. So,
well, the problem there,
reasonably, how can you not look at that and take advantage and not give this kid a break? And forget about Maryland, forget about you and me, forget about why we need him, all right? How about him?
There must still be something to this that we don't know. Because Des Wells was thrown out of Xavier when the charges came up. He was thrown off the basketball team when the charges came up. And then later on, when it finally gets to court, the DA says there's no case. So, however he got into this position, he was doomed from the start when they threw him out of school and they threw him off the team. And for some reason, Xavier said it doesn't matter if you're not going to be guilty, if you're not even going to go to court, you're just off the team. That decision's final, and you're out.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong. I mean, it's the bottom line. And it's like one NCAA decision after another goes against Maryland. Now, you know, you're going back, and this has got nothing to do with Penn State, but you look at the Penn State decision. When they announced it, I said Penn State got off easy.
Yeah.
They got their games. They have 110,000 people going to the games. And guess what? Penn State now, I think, is 4-2 and playing for a major role against Ohio State at home today like nothing happened. So they're not going to a bowl. One game for 4 years they can't play.
Right.
Nothing else has changed.
No, and the Maryland history is we give one guy a ride to class and we get banned off the television. Sam Cassell, who was a Maryland recruit, they have a question about a transcript that class other kids took, but they don't let Sam Cassell qualify for Maryland. Des Wells gets thrown out of Xavier on a trumped-up charge, transfers to Maryland because they won't let him play. NCAA comes down on Maryland. What did we ever do to the NCAA, Bruce? Do we have a...
I just don't understand. You know, they're appealing it. They immediately appealed it. We don't know the fervor that they appeal it.
No, but you pointed out that when I said, hey, they appealed it, and you said, yeah, he's probably still not getting it.
I mean, I hate to be negative, but I don't understand why you need an appeal. I just don't understand.
Well, you can ask Rick that. I think there's a difference in the rules of evidence that you can put out in an appeal so he can explain his case. Why doesn't he do some pro bono representation?
He does all the time.
Why isn't he on the Deswell's case? Why
well, I don't know. I can't answer that.
Guy?
I can't answer that, but we'll ask him that. But they have people on it. They got great lawyers. They're represented by an incredible firm. But let's move on. I can't move on. I'm just heated up over that. But and then you take a look at what happened with the football situation, and so unfair to Devin Burns and Perry Hills. I mean, I don't even know how to describe the way I feel for those two, especially Devin Burns to get that. Look, Perry got hurt. It happens. Devin gets his opportunity, comes in the game, and performs at a level that's so strong that it was hard to imagine that here we are, maybe a potential option offense. And hey, heads up, credit to Mike Loxley for having that team prepared for what could have happened. And then to come in with Caleb Rowe, now I don't know. Originally I thought they brought him in because he's the thrower. Maybe they brought him in because Devin was hurt. We really don't know.
At the end of the game.
Yeah,
right.
we don't know why.
So, right, Devin Burns comes in, and he's Maryland's version of RG3. I called him RG1.5. He was scintillating, explosive, amazing. People loved watching him. It was as much fun as I've seen watching the Maryland offense since Randall Jones back in the 90s went to play safety, and that was the end of the option at Maryland. And you're right. The coaching staff had 4 guys ready to go, starting with CJ. Perry Hills seemed ready enough to win. Devin Burns was great. And then Caleb Rowe comes off the bench cold, never played a big game before, and they start at the 20. The drive ends 24 seconds later at the NC State 10-yard line.
He had no chance. He had no chance to consider that his red shirt was burned.
No. And maybe that's the best way to come in the game. He had nothing to lose. We were down 18-17 at that point, and we figure it's over, and right down the field. And we thought we had it won. I thought we had it won. Bruce, did you think we had that game won?
I didn't think the kid would miss. I'll be honest with you.
Either.
30, it was a 32-yarder. I lived through one nightmare of Billy Cundiff missing, and I know the Redskin fans lived through 5 games of the nightmare named Billy Cundiff.
We also had Danny Snyder missing a bit on the guys he brought in. Similar, but different.
Well, Cundiff, it's one thing to miss 131-yard field goal, then the next week he misses another one. That was it.
I'm a Redskin fan, but I live and die with the Terps. And when that ball hit that upright, my heart sank. I almost had the kids crying next to me. I know you were up till 2 in the morning upset about it. You feel any better today since we have
I'm still upset about that game because we'd be sitting here talking about a miraculous comeback of this team heading to Boston College, even with Devin Burns at the helm, all right, and we'd be 5-2, and we'd be getting ready to be bowl eligible. And if you would have said to anybody this year that the Terps were going to be bowl eligible, they would have said there's no way in the world.
There's no way.
And it's not over yet.
No. We found every...
I won't say this much. Death Valley's going to be a long trip, all right?
We might lose a game or two, but we just need to get to 6. The 6th game is so important for a couple reasons. One is recruiting. We can say we went to a bowl. Second is when you have a bunch of freshmen on the team, you get another month of practice. So we'd be practicing all the way up to the bowl game. So even if it's just the military bowl, get the 6th win, get in a bowl.
Well, it's just very, very, very disappointing. And with that, we're going to head out to our first break. But